The techniques that I knew and saw and experienced were not saying the things that I wanted to say. I simply could not, with purely classical ballet, say what I wanted to say. I could do a story, of course, in ballet. As you know, so much ballet is just a narrative. But to capture the meaning in the culture and life of the people, I felt that I had to take something directly from the people and develop that. Agia was a fighting dance. In Martinique, when I was there, I would, Sunday afternoons, instead of being, horse racing, this, that, or the other, for the average person, it was to go and see an agia, a fighting dance. It had drum accompaniment and certain kinds of motion that were pure dance, and other kinds of motion that were actually lethal.
The fourth position contraction is also done with the arm, with a flat hand, showing the influence that the martial arts had on Catherine Deneuve.
The intangible cultural heritage is a treasure, and it's a store of wisdom, knowledge, practices, a lot of things. So if we can use this treasure to reproduce, may we say that we can give it life and to keep it and to classify, then we can use this intangible cultural heritage by the people, the owners of this intangible cultural heritage, for developing themselves.
Shadow puppetry is a kind of performing art. It uses music and operatic singing to accompany silhouette figures made from leather or paper. These figures are manipulated to create the illusion of moving images in front of an illuminated backdrop. Because it employs lights and shadows as the medium for storytelling, shadow puppetry can be considered as the ancestor of both Chinese opera and modern film.
Actually form the basis of the development. If you observe the Ice Age from a different point of view, the Ice Age contains a lot of information and knowledge and know-how which have been transmitted through generations. And very often, new ideas or new, let's say, designs and new, how to say, methods can be found in such traditions and know-hows.
It's difficult to know for certain whether this man is praying, singing, or crying, or whether he is doing all three at the same time. What is certain, however, is that this deep musical expression of emotion typical of southern Spain is known in many parts of the world as flamenco. Flamenco is a priceless treasure that different cultures and civilizations, from the Greeks and Romans to Christian Jews and Muslims through dialogue and cultural fusion, have kindled over the centuries in the south of the Iberian Peninsula. To complete the picture, at the end of the 18th century, this original version of flamenco was further shaped by the dazzling personality of the gypsies. Since that time, for the people inhabiting the geographic triangle which lies between the mines of La Unión in Murcia, the pastures of Badajoz, and the marshes of southern Andalusia, flamenco has meant much more than just beautiful and breathtaking music and dance. For these millions of people, flamenco is nothing more and nothing less than the substance of their memories and the rhythm of their lives. In other words, it is the hallmark of their identity.
A man walked into a Hebrew clothing store and tried on a coat and vest. While the Hebrew turned his back to the trousers, the man ran out of the store. The policeman came by and pulled out his pistol. The Hebrew called out excitedly, "Shoot him in the pants! The coat and vest is mine." Oh, and speaking of pants, here comes the Irisher. Bootsky. Good evening, friends. I'm going now to leave you. I hope my reputation I sustained as the bossest and the bulliest little sheeny of all the glass poutines that ever reigned. Hey! Man walked into a Hebrew clothing store and tried on a coat and vest. While the Hebrew turned his back to get the trousers, the man ran out of the store. The policeman came by and pulled out his pistol. The Hebrew called out excitedly, "Shoot him in the pants! The coat and vest is mine." Oh, and speaking of pants,